welcome to Rapid Reviews Podcast Radio. Nope, did that backwards. Doesn't matter. Episode 226.
Continue.
I am your co-host, Kiley Wilde, and I'm joined by my ever-present co-host, Pete Beckett.
Hello. Gotta love technical issues. I don't know why your mic is so terrible at times.
Either. And we're like 30 minutes late. Like, literally 30 minutes late. Starting this.
I wouldn't say 30 minutes. We were probably about 20 minutes close to.
Sure, we'll go with that. Well, we did talk, and that's the thing. That's the thing, people out there in listener land. You should come check us out over on Twitch. It says twitch.tv/Rapid Reviews. Where you can hang out in the audience, in the chat, and talk to us. And watch Pete make all the facepalm reaction faces you could ever wish to have.
Because the tequila has already taken hold of you.
Tequila's not even in my system yet, but it will be.
I mean, you can't even talk normally, but it's
I was
gotten
gonna
even
say,
worse.
I was gonna say, this is sober Kiley. Sober Kiley can't talk. Can't speak English. What are you talking about?
Really?
But yes, in the probably erroneous belief that tequila is better for me than wine, I've taken my trainer's advice and drank tequila instead.
Fine.
So...
Like I said in the pre-show, I don't think it's supposed to be to excess.
Yeah, well, I do everything to excess. Have you met me? Yes, you have.
Several times.
In person, live. So Pete knows me and my excesses. And my twinks. Anyway, well, none of that has anything to do with what I'm about to say, which is usually... I love to ask our guests how they're doing, but we don't have guests because Pete isn't doing his job.
Oh, so you're just... Shut up. So you're just going to have to put up with little old me again this week. Sorry.
Pete, go out there and get me guests.
Sorry, is there anything interesting going on that warrants a guest?
Life itself is interesting enough. Have you not seen a sunrise on a crystal clear morning? Isn't that enough to celebrate?
Of course I have. I've stayed up until the wee hours of the morning to do so yes.
Yes.
And not because I was drunk.
Mm-hmm. Everything is because...
Mostly because I was drunk, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, normally this is where I do kind of like, do the guest thing, but we don't have guests. So that means I asked Pete. Pete, how has your week been and what have you been playing?
Holy crap, it's been busy. Work. Very, very busy.
Like you have a job or something.
I do have a job and also a young cat that is keeping me very, very busy.
But a very handsome cat at that.
He is. Until he does things like that.
Yeah. So Pete and I are in the same club together, but mine's a little puppy. But...
Yeah, we're in the scratching club.
Yep.
It's great fun.
Yep.
Yeah, I showed the camera, obviously. Yeah, this is a shameless plug. This video is now on Spotify. Go and watch. Right. Anyway, carrying on. So yeah, it's been a very, very busy week. I've also worked this weekend, so I've not really had a lot of time to do anything. Really.
Right.
I have played a small amount of one game this week. That's a rarity.
I know.
It's also,
that's a good game.
No, it's also a somewhat new release to an existing game I have played.
Oh,
I say somewhat. It is actually a new release too. It's an update to a game that I have played.
What would that be?
Well, did you happen to remember that there was a few announcements over last year for some characters that might have been coming to a certain fighting game called Street Fighter 6?
I don't know anything about it, Pete.
Street Fighter 6 is Capcom's latest entry in the long-running Street Fighter series. Anyway, we have our second guest character that has appeared within the Season 2 roster. That is Mai Shiranui, or however you pronounce her surname, from Fatal Fury. So I had a little bit of time to go and have a quick check out of her moveset and play a few games with her.
Excellent. Very good. How was it?
I kind of wish my PC hadn't completely tanked in terms of frame rate at the time, which was a bit annoying when I was training. Managed to sort it out so it was at least stable at some point. Could have been a quirk with the fact that the update had not long gone live. So, did some combo trials with her, and she is a very, very interesting character to use. So, her main gimmick is very similar to Terry's in that respect, is that she can cancel out of some of her moves into other moves. So some of her special moves can be cancelled into each other. Probably not to the same degree, as the Wrecker style that Terry has, but she can input a lot of damage as a result of it. She is also a very mix-up heavy character with her fans, which are projectiles. So you can throw one out and it'll just travel the screen normally, but if you hold a button, it can make contact on blocking opponents and then mix up for another hit by going in by hitting off them and going up in an upwards direction to come back down onto them, which causes some mix-up potentials with her combos. Very interesting to do when you actually do them within a combo set itself. She has a few keep away moves, but she also has a lot of up close pressure, and her level 1 super enables her to have 5 different moves that are allowed to be powered up if you utilize them. So obviously enables some extra damage, some extra juggle potential on some of her special moves. It's quite cool, but she is very, very technical. Again, like as you sort of would expect with an SNK character. So the Fatal Fury and King of Fighters games are genuinely quite technical fighters, as it's more so than Capcom fighters. They've done a really amazing job of actually translating her into Street Fighter 6, like they did with Terry. She's probably not the most powerful character, quite understandably so. But she is a lot of fun to play, but my God, is she hard to use at times. So I think a lot of this is down to the fact that I didn't have a lot of time with her. I tried to play some online ranked games. Didn't do particularly well with her, not going to lie. So, but that's only as a result of having played the character for about 30 minutes. So I'm hoping to get a bit more time in with it, but my first impressions are solid character, very good design. Also nice to have a nice looking lady within the cast.
Yes.
And her costumes are incredible as well. The classic costume is very akin to obviously the typical Fatal Fury and King of Fighters design that you would usually see with her, especially on the CVS as well. But her alternate costume is actually what her costume's going to be in Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, which is very, very cool.
Yeah. That's cool. It shows that they put thought into it, which I always like.
So I'm enjoying the character. I'm not sure that she would actually go on to be a main character for me. Still can't get away from using Kimberly because I've used her since even the beta, or WSD when it was there as well. So, but I will put some more time in and let you know because the grind is on for Evo France.
Nice. Yes, that's right. That's gonna be cool.
Yeah, but that's all I've played this week. Sorry, I haven't done my homework.
Well, I mean, like, you should just, like, be like me and not work and just play video games all day, which is what I do.
Okay, I will try telling that to the bank that has my mortgage. Oh, sorry, I'm afraid that I'm not paying this month because I need to play video games. Cool.
That's what I do.
Yeah, but you have the you have the capital behind you to do so. I don't.
I have to be very, 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 very careful because, and I realized that this week, a little bit of a moment of seriousness here. I live a very different life than probably 98% of people on the planet.
Yes.
And sometimes I forget that. And because you don't think about it. Like, I don't sit here walking around thinking about it. And I'll say something and then realize, oh, that's probably not something I should say because they are probably suffering right now with the whole economy and everything. So if I say jerky things, they're not on purpose. Just tell me. Just be like, okay, Kylie, you're being a dick right now. And it's like, oh, right. Okay. Sorry.
Cool.
So, so that happened this week.
Okay. Well, anyway,
but
speaking about weeks,
with that said, I do play video games all day. And Monday we played Doom Eternal, because I finally got past my traversal point. And I still hate traversal. I hate it. Pete, and I was thinking of you as well because, like, you love platformers.
Yeah,
and
but
I'm just sitting here going, why
yeah, but
why do they put platforming in Doom?
platforming in a first-person shooter is a really, really bad idea.
Dumb.
It's
It's
not
so
even good in a
dumb.
third-person shooter.
Right, yeah. No, I don't like it in either one. I think side-scrollers, it works. Yeah. Side-scrollers, it works.
Of course, because that's the inherent nature of the game.
Yeah, exactly. But as far as, like, I don't know. So, anyway, but I still love Doom. Oh, my gosh. Like, that music kicks in, and I'm just there. I'm just shooting things and still using my stickies because I do love my stickies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, my poor chat has to sit there because I'll get into it and I'll stop. Look, it's the only thing on the planet that'll make me stop talking. I just go completely silent for like a good 2 minutes. I know, right? That's like forever.
For you,
and then yeah, for me it is. And then I like realize what I'm doing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, chat. I'm so sorry. I'm just sitting here killing demons. And then yeah, now Brent has a very valid point, and he's absolutely right. It's meant to break up gameplay, and I think that I do. I kind of like there being momentary breaks. But sometimes the traversal, and again, this is limitation of me and my, as I call them, wonky eyes. Well, it's only one eye that's wonky. And it throws my depth perception off. But it can take away, like, I'll be in my, like, zone, just killing all them demons, man. I'm just loving it. And then it's like, now you have to jump across the way. And also climb up. Have fun. It's like, aha. Then, 10, 15 minutes later, after I've died 63 times, you thought I was going to say 69, nice. But after I've died like 63 times, then I finally get it.
Yeah.
And,
I have to say, there is one small disappointing fact about Doom, the Dark Ages.
Oh, what's that? Because I'm probably the same one I think of. What?
I wish that Bethesda hadn't had the big problem with Mick Gordon. He could come back to do the soundtrack.
Yes, I couldn't remember his name, Pete. I couldn't remember his name the other day, but I was talking about it on my stream as well. But I was like, oh, if Pete was here, he'd be able to tell it. So we played that on Monday. Then I think I came back Tuesday.
For you, it was a Tuesday.
For me, it was Tuesday. In fact, I made that joke because I always make that joke. So yes, it was Tuesday. We did Hitman because it was like the last day of Hitman drops, and Hitman is single and ready to mingle. That is what his campaign is currently called. How can I resist?
Is that when you were doing the race cup?
Yes. No, I think was that on Thursday.
Oh, that might have been Thursday.
That might have been Thursday.
Okay.
Which is an insane map, but we'll get there in a second.
Okay.
So, but then came the kicker. The game that everyone's playing. The game that Nana guessed with very little hints. But I did. I played. Now, some people have told me it's pronounced Miside, which is... It's a Japanese game, so they're like, it's pronounced Miside, which to me sounds a bit racist, but okay. But me, as a person who barely can speak English, let alone read English, I pronounce it Miside. What is Miside? If you don't know, oh my gosh, you probably should if you watch Twitch or YouTube videos at all. It is, Doki Doki Literature Club?
Yes.
If they took that and made it a live action game,
oh,
it's terrifying.
Okay.
It is terrifying. I played it on Weird Wednesday because it's a weird game. I knew it'd have some kind of like little momentary scary points, but I didn't think it was going to be like scary. Oh, Nana says it's not Japanese. It was made by Russian devs. Okay, I need to tell people this then.
Oh dear.
Miside, right? What?
No, I was going to make a bad joke. Don't worry.
It's
long past.
That's what she said. But it is crazy. We're gonna continue on with that because it's fun and scary, which are that's me. That's how I describe myself. I am fun and scary. And I hit at parties. But
well, if you missed that one, it is actually up on your YouTube channel.
it is. Wait, is it on YouTube yet? Oh, that's right, because I live streamed it on YouTube. Another shout out. We've got we actually picked up 2 followers here from that stream.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. You guys are amazing. In case you catch this, hopefully you will. Thank you. And then I think on Thursday I played Hitman again, but that's because I wasn't feeling like bad, but I was just tired, I think. And so I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? Oh no, that's what I was doing. So I'm making a long form video, as everyone knows, because I've said it for like a month and a half now. A deep dive into 47. So I was getting some footage from Absolution, I think.
Mm-hmm.
No, Blood Money. I think I was getting some footage from Blood Money.
Is that why you were talking about Blood Money on the stream then?
Yeah. And I was like, I miss Agent 47. I'm going to do the most ambitious map there is. And I did a kill everyone on the map challenge with the Florida map. I did not finish it satisfactorily at all. So I'll probably eventually go back in the future and do it properly.
Yeah.
I think I left way too many people alive, and it was just wasn't efficient.
Yeah, I had to dip out of the stream when you'd basically taken over as Florida Man.
Yeah.
And that was it.
I did like being Florida Man. I don't know why flies were following, but they did. And so then after that, on Friday, now here's what was funny about Friday. So if you know anything about my streams, I've been putting off for about a month, maybe 2 months, finishing Resident Evil 7. Because in a very embarrassing moment, I did a terrible loadout for the last boss and failed miserably 6 times in a row. So then I was like, all right, fine. I'll hop on here early before I actually go live with it. I'll see what my loadout's like. I'll go back and play the whole level over. I'll get it all, blah, blah, blah. I didn't change my loadout. I just loaded up the game. Beat the final boss in like 2 minutes. I don't even think it took 2 minutes. I was like, what? What?
No, sometimes that happens. You struggle
clear
on
your
a
brain.
boss and you take you decide to walk away from it. It was the same thing that I had when I was playing through the challenge levels of Astrobot. There was one that was particularly difficult and I just could not get the hang of it. It was like 40 different tries of it on a certain occasion. Put the game down, came back to it in 2 weeks and did it within 3 tries.
Steam Chivos, they cropped up and I was like, you know what? I'll tell chat. I did finish this offline. I'm going to attempt to beat the boss again. If it doesn't happen, the Stevos?
The Stevos.
The Stevos. The
there you go. I think we've got an episode title, The Stevos.
The Stevos are on my channel. And then, but I loaded up, played it. Oh, it's the light out there. Anyway, played it, beat the boss again in like 2 minutes. So we just went on. We just moved on. Hello, Flame. How are you?
Hello, Flame.
How are you? So we went on and I played the first DLC. Oh my gosh.
Is that the Chris one?
No, well, technically Chris is the first DLC. I played them in chronological order.
Okay.
So I started with the one that's about like how the bakers got turned and everything.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Very scary. It's really well done. 2, I'm confused and lost as a goose and died like a million times. So, and actually my stream ran over. It was so crazy. I didn't mean for it to. So we're gonna continue the DLC next week. But anyway, so that's the games I played, which was Doom, usual, Hitman, usual, Miside, which was insane. You gotta check that out. I will be multi-streaming it to YouTube and Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we do on Wednesdays. And then another Hitman, and then Resident Evil 7, we finished that up. So a productive week, if you ask me. But
cool.
This is a kind of say shout out. That's probably not the right thing. The tequila's starting to kick in now. But this is kind of a call out to people who are listening to this or watching this who want to come over to my place, which I'll advertise at the end of the stream. But we do take community requests. So give me a request. I'll put it in the playlist.
I've given you my request already.
What was it? I forgot. It's written down. I just don't remember.
It is written down. It's that new Joseph Fares game that's coming out at the beginning of March.
Right. You told
Split
me that.
Fiction.
Was it last week? Yes. Yep. Yeah, because I was going to make a really bad joke about that. Eventually I will. So, with that said, that was my week. An adventuresome, great week. And now I've had a lot of tequila. So now that's my turn to throw it over to Pete. Pete, what have you got for us today?
Well, I haven't been drinking any tequila whatsoever. Cool. So, this is a news episode, as per usual, because, well, I say there's not been a lot going on. There's a bit going on, but there's not been many things to get a guest on about. We can probably do that at some point soon.
They get a guest on and talk to me. They'll be like, "Oh, it's all I've ever wanted to do my whole life."
Yeah.
That is a joke, people. It is called self-deprecating humor. Anyway.
Yes, it is. All right. So let's start off with the usual place that we would probably start with most weeks when it comes to news items.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to the last year.
The news.
Layoffs.
Oh, that makes me so sad. Anyway.
Yes, so it's another week and another series of layoffs. This time, only one news story about layoffs. But this one is quite a notable one, and one that, I'm going to be honest, saddens me quite a lot. Do you happen to remember a certain Xbox One launch title by the name of Killer Instinct?
I do.
I know,
yeah.
I was just leading into it.
Yeah!
Do you happen to remember that there was a studio that took over from the original developers called Double Helix? Helix were the original developers. Do you happen to remember who it was that took over?
About on the show, but there's no way in my Swiss cheesed addled brain I'll ever remember that.
They are notable porting studio, but have also made their own intellectual properties, such as Divekick and Rumbleverse. Right. Iron Galaxy Studios.
That's right, yeah.
Have announced that there is a round of layoffs affecting 66 employees. For a small studio like that,
I was gonna say. Aw. That's very sad.
So let's read the story. So sources this week, VGC, will be in the description, obviously, once this goes live and after the stream for those on Twitch. The Chicago-based indie studio behind the game Rumbleverse, which also has offices in Orlando and Nashville, said it was forced to make staff cuts to ensure its, quote, long-term survival.
Aww.
Best known as co-development and support studio, Iron Galaxy has worked on numerous high-profile franchises, including Call of Duty, Last of Us, Uncharted, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Destiny, BioShock, and Killer Instinct. They are also the ones, and this is why it pains me to say it, they were also the ones that have done several porting jobs for Capcom when it comes to Street Fighter games. So it's reportedly employed around 250 people in March 2022 when it said when it said that it planned to hire over 100 more for the opening of its third studio. So they weren't doing too bad actually in terms of an indie studio with having 3 different studios set up. Following several years of, quote, making sacrifices to keep teams intact, Iron Galaxy said today in a LinkedIn update that it had run out of room to maneuver. So the statement, and I'll read it in full before we make any comments. In total, we have reduced our employee base by 66 people. This was a means of last resort for us. It's a measure that we do not take lightly to enable our long-term survival. Iron Galaxy is still committed to serving our partners in the creation of games. Our capabilities remain intact to work with the best companies in the world on the most beloved player experiences. This year, we'll continue to explore new ways to support an industry we love and keep working towards its ongoing recovery. At this moment, our focus is on our teammates who have begun begun a journey towards their next role. We thank them for working with us. We'll be doing everything we can to support them in the search for their next phase of their careers. Keep an eye out for them. If you need good people, we are sorry to see them go. So, the article then goes on to state that the over 1 in 10 developers who participated in a recent GDC survey said that they were laid off over the past year. Companies impacted by layoffs so far this year include Wargaming USA, Highwire Games, Netmarble, Toadman Interactive, FreeJam, Piranha, Counterplay Games, Microsoft, Splash Damage, Jar of Sparks, Probable Monsters, and Ubisoft. So some indie, some quite massive companies. This is quite an issue for the video games industry at the moment.
Yeah, it's like chat was saying, will they ever end? Like, I don't know that much about economics. I know that seems funny because I've made a lot of money, but personal economics is not the same as, global economics. So with that said, it seems like to me, with all of the layoffs going on, that if I was a hungry new person who just graduated university or whatever, I would be hesitant to accept job offers.
I wouldn't even think about going anywhere near the video game industry at the moment when it comes to programming or script writing or anything.
Yeah, you might be hired for like 3 months and then that's it. Just go on a contract basis. That's my advice.
I'm not going to argue about contracting work.
Not real advice.
I've honestly done contracting work before.
Oh, yeah,
obviously not within video games industry.
No.
It's quite a nice way to build up your skill base, to build up connections, and to find, to see how different companies work, to see what fits for you.
Freelance.
If you obviously go in and enjoy the work that you do, and they seem to like what you do, it can result in something a little bit more. But obviously it gives you both the out to go, or both the way to sort of go, okay, this isn't working for either of us, that's it, let's go. Let's part ways and call it a day, let's end mutually, basically. There's no problem with that. But it just seems like a lot of companies are willing to hire people on large budgets or large salaries to then cut their budgets in a massive way that then means last in, first out, unfortunately.
Yeah, I just can't support that.
Or it's the idea that they're trying to trim the fat in terms of the largest salaries within the company as well. Yeah. Except the executives who make the decisions.
That's the thing. That's what would make me very gun shy as a person seeking employment. And yeah, like Tanker says, include an exit clause. Oh, there's my Tinder. Oh, best friend of the show. This is a huge problem for people who are currently studying. Exactly my thoughts. It's exactly where I was going with this. Studying video game development. This would make you so gun shy. This happened like in America. I don't know how it was worldwide. In America, it happened with the medical field, especially with nurses, high-level nurses, like what we call registered nurses. There was a glut. It was too much. And then the medical, because, it's different over in the U.S., the medical field just kind of bottomed out, and no one was getting hired. And now they're under, they're always lacking employees.
It's somewhat similar here. Not. I would say that there's now more demand for private healthcare rather than actual, NHS or publicly funded.
They effed the pooch on that one during COVID, but that's for other podcasts, political podcasts with Kiley and Pete.
Well, next week's episode is on Nurse Watch.
Oh, there you go. But with that said, in all seriousness, I think that's exactly what happens is who wants to study, like, yes, of course you have the passion to be, like in game development, whatever that may be. whether it's the game writing, the game art, or actual
QA testing, anything.
Yeah, all of that. You may have a passion for it, but why would you go into a sinking? Why would you walk onto a sinking ship? No one would, even if they had a passion for ships. That's probably a thing.
So it's almost like the entire industry is a complete shipwreck.
Nah, it's like the Titanic going down. See, I said Titanic. I didn't put a name in there because I'm a good girl.
Yeah. Anyway, it's not a good time for the industry.
No, it's not.
I mean, at what point do we then have to have a real proper discussion, not us personally, but the video games industry as a whole, about where it actually went wrong and what can they really do about it? I don't think they are.
Hubris. Yeah, it's too much hubris. They'll never discuss it.
No,
that's what I've noticed. I mean, freaking Phil Spencer, who I did have a lot of respect for. I don't disrespect him now, but I had a lot of respect for him. He of anyone, he's been in the industry for decades.
Yeah.
He's not sat back and went, you know what? This thing happened 5 years ago, and we forecasted this, and maybe we shouldn't do fill in the blank, anymore. But he didn't. So if he, who's quite tuned into it, didn't, yeah, exactly. Mike Tindo says this has been going on for a good few years now. Where's the reflection? Where is the absolute sitting there going, the building's on fire. It's been burning for a long time. We're putting the fire out at our personal desks. Maybe we should discuss a plan on how to put the whole fire out in the entire building. Mm-hmm. Also, probably should save ourselves at some point. But no one is doing that. Not a one. And Danger says, it will only happen when political changes affect their company prospects. This is what's crazy to me. One thing I've always been taught, and then of course I went on to be in business myself, but is, you gotta affect their bottom line. You gotta affect their bottom line. That's how you affect change. Affect their bottom line.
Not necessarily.
That'll change their bottom line has been sinking the last 5-10 years, and they're not they're just not riding the ship. They're writing checks, not riding the ship, and giving themselves exiting money. And I don't know what it's gonna take. I legit don't know.
I know what
Mike
it's gonna
says,
take. Go on, Karen.
Mike Tino says it started when the big companies... Yes, exactly. This is what I'm saying. The big companies got greedy and started buying up the smaller dev teams. Yes! Then asset stripped them. How many times did we say that stupid dadgum company that I can't remember the name of, the one that just kept buying up companies? Embracer. I can never remember the name of that. Embracer Group just kept buying companies. And we're like, what? Is there a plan? No plan. And so they are like out of money now because they just kept buying companies with no plan. And so they've ruined, there's IPs that are lost now because they've ruined it. And I honestly don't know what it's going to take. Pete, what is your theories on what it's going to take to wake the freaking thing up?
The whole thing needs to crash.
I think it's going to have to.
Like, you need a hard reset at this point. You know how a computer, when it has a catastrophic failure.
When I have a computer, yes.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to just hard reset it.
Yeah. Well,
this is what the industry needs. It needs a hard reset, and it needs to look at itself and go, what is it that we did during the early 90s to the 2000s that made video games incredibly successful and ballooning as a business? It's almost like the indie scene seems to have done it.
Yeah.
You need to have an excellent blend of AAA development, high budget studio games that are of a very good quality in terms of writing, graphics, and story that people are interested in. But then you also need to have those AA games that are not as cost effective, not as won't take up much of the budget, will sell a couple of million copies, but will help sustain some of the larger budgets of games.
used to be a thing, like your staples, and
I
then
know.
you
So
took the
let me
risk.
segue into this story then, because I think it actually
Okay.
applies
Although
quite well.
I like what chat's talking about, and also hello, Pie Lord.
Yeah. Hello. But yes, this is why I've decided that I'm going to put this story next, because it fits very heavily with the fact that a double A game from a triple A studio did quite well on a previous generation. Do you happen to remember that a certain PS3 launch title from Insomniac Games?
It wasn't Spider-Man, was it?
No, PS3, not PS4.
Yeah, I don't remember that far back.
What? Think back to the kind of IPs that they do.
I don't remember.
Insomniac, they did Ratchet and Clank,
Oh, I
Spider-Man.
love Ratchet and Clank.
This one, I wouldn't say it's a well-known. Well, it's become quite notorious now. They had 3 games on the PS3. One of them was obviously a launch title, because I remember that box art quite well.
Well,
Resistance.
Oh, that was Insomniac. I know
That
what
was
about.
Insomniac Games.
Okay, I've had a lot of tequila since then.
Yes.
Anyway.
So outgoing Insomniac Games founder and president Ted Price, we talked about him a couple of weeks ago, retiring after 30 years, has claimed that Sony rejected a pitch for Resistance 4. At a time when they need an actual game that has an IP and established fan base.
Yeah, but let's be very honest. PlayStation, as well as the others, I'm not picking on PlayStation fanboys out there. PlayStation has been making wrong moves
for years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Since the drop of PS4. Let's be honest. I'm not being a dick about it.
No, honestly, I'm not going to disagree with you. I think PS3 was the last truly creative generation that they had, because after The Last of Us came out, essentially everything was a third-person, over-the-shoulder, cover-based cinematic game.
Like to an extent, but then it got samey. It got very generic.
It did. Last of Us Part 2, Spider-Man, God of War, of varying quality. Some of these games are very good, but some of them are complete crap. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
And Nana brings it out, says, I mean, Insomniac have been making all the right moves. They're making Spider-Man 3 and Wolverine. They'll be fine. But if Wolverine plays exactly the same as Spider-Man, I don't think many people are going to be too happy with it.
That's what I'm worried about. Now, don't get me wrong. I like Spider-Man. I think it's very well done. I think it came at a perfect time. That's what she said. I think that all the people getting mad about the puddles were stupid and dumb.
Yeah, that was really stupid.
Yes. But I did enjoy Spider-Man, and then I enjoyed watching people play, Spider-Man and what's his face? Miles Morales. But it also was the same, gameplay. You know this. We've done reaction videos here. I am looking forward to Wolverine like you would not flippin' believe. Wolverine is probably my number 2 favorite X-Men, with Storm being number 1. But I know his lore. I know his. I was the person that was angry that they picked Hugh Jackman way back in 2000 because Hugh Jackman was too tall for Wolverine. So we're talking about, I'm hardcore excited for this. If they F this up, it's people like me that are the ones that are going to be buying the game.
Well, based on what I saw when it came to the leaks, I'm actually not that overly excited about the game because I thought it looked incredibly generic.
I'm worried that it is just going to be it's just going to be Spider-Man reskinned as Wolverine.
That's what I worry about as well. No, and this is coming from someone who enjoyed Spider-Man 2, but the story wasn't overly great, to be honest, and it fumbled a hell of a lot in the final third.
I agree.
Anyway, so speaking during an interview with Kind of Funny, who are no longer funny.
No, haven't been for a while.
To celebrate his career as a developer, of course he chose Kind of Funny because Greg Miller is a Sony fanboy. Of course they would do that. Price was asked about which game he wished he could have worked on but didn't work out. Price revealed that at one point the studio pitched Sony a 4th entry into the Resistance franchise. So if you don't actually know what it is, it's an alternate history first-person shooter. And there is one thing I do remember about that game. It had a very brown look.
To be fair, games at the time did.
No, that was very much of the style, because a lot of 360 games also did the same.
Yeah, I don't really know why.
So the first in the series was a launch game for the PS3, and it would, they would have several other entries within that console generation.
Yeah.
Quote, "It was a wonderful concept. It was the result of a lot of Insomniac Games team members being passionate about extending the story further. I do believe that Resistance set up a cool alternate history base where anything can happen with the Chimera and where they go and what their origins are. Obviously, I don't know anything about the Resistance series.
It's very cool. It is.
We spent a lot of time working on backstory and brainstorming on where we could take it in the future. As for why Sony rejected the pitch, Price claims that the timing and the market opportunity for the game wasn't right at the time. Since the conclusion of the Resistance franchise in 2011, Insomniac Games has become one of the most prolific studios in Sony's lineup. Hang on. You also have to remember around about that time they were also doing stuff on the Xbox One with Sunset Overdrive. I think this was before they were actually bought by Sony as a first party.
Yes, that would be absolutely at that time. Yeah.
Actually, it does mention that in the decades since they've released three Ratchet and Clank titles, 3 Marvel Spider-Man games, Sunset Overdrive, and other smaller titles. So yeah, it's one of those ones that's just been, it's just been left on the pit to die, unfortunately. Do you happen to remember as well a recent situation where Sony turned around and went, "We don't have IPs. We need new IPs."
And like, dude, what?
Well, Resistance is an IP, Ape Escape is an IP,
yeah,
Loco Roco is an IP, God of War is an IP, all owned by Sony. Yes, they're doing stuff with God of War. But Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, God, there's so many more that I could name.
But that also was when Jim Ryan said nobody wants to play old games.
And then look what they did on PSN.
Yeah. Also, PSN crashed, or not crashed, it was down this weekend.
No. Well, we might be talking about that in a bit. Anyway, Nana says, it's a shooter and I don't think it could have done well. Like Doom is the only non-COD FPS that sells. Agreed, but this further cements the point that we need more diversity in terms of game styles from Sony, rather than over-the-shoulder cinematic third-person adventure game with cover-based shooting.
Favorite style of game. It's even though I've said that, I also agree. My watch told me I'm supposed to stand up, but I'm going to ignore it.
Oh, brilliant. So you'll be... Yeah. But also, I think this leads into this story, which I think is also interesting as well, about the heaping state of the games industry. It's the steaming pile of dog doo-doo.
Yes.
Because EA, or Warner, are in the news again. Because of course they're in the news again. Sorry, it was Warner Brothers. EA are always in the news. Let's talk. Yes. We could talk about BioWare and how they've stripped back their studio. But we won't.
I wonder why, you stupid dumb idiots releasing stupid dumb Dragon Age in a stupid dumb way.
It's almost like Dragon Age of the Veilguard, and its purple aesthetic just didn't do very well.
Purple, because purple's my favorite color, so purple aesthetic isn't the problem.
No, it looked
everything
like,
else
complete crap.
It was terrible.
It was a terrible looking game, and from what I saw of it, the story was absolutely atrocious.
And I'm sorry, I gotta say this. Dragon Age has a built-in fan base, a built-in Tumblr fan base, so they're loyal, they're easily pleased. But they could have easily pleased their fan base. Did they do it? No, they did not.
No, but I think we're starting to spin a yarn about what actually is the state of the video games industry at the moment as well.
Well, let's talk about it.
It's almost like there's some cohesion within these stories for this reason. Anyway, Warner Brothers, do you happen to remember that they announced a game? I can't remember when it was. It was.
Yeah.
It does say in the article. It was at the Game Awards in 2021.
Oh my gosh.
There was a few games that got announced that year that still haven't seen any light of day.
Yes.
If you bear it in mind, right, 2021 Game Awards, and it's Warner Brothers. And I can imagine that you were quite excited at the time. In fact, I remember you being quite excited about the particular property.
I think we co-streamed or
we
reaction streamed that or
we might have done, or we talked about it afterwards.
something. Because I think Kieran was involved in that one.
I think he was, yes. So there was a game that was pitched and shown whilst everyone got excited about the potential for it. I turned around and went, this is an announcement trailer. It's not even bloody an engine anything. Yeah. There's no actual game here.
That's Pete's usual response.
Yeah, because it was Monolith. I mean, Monolith do make good games, but...
Yes.
It was a Wonder Woman game.
Right. I was excited and then annoyed that they were going to make her like the skinny Gal Gadot version. But anyway.
A new report has claimed that the game is years away from release.
Of course it is.
So,
of course it is.
Being developed by Monolith Productions, will use the Nemesis system from their acclaimed Lord of the Rings titles, which was shown during 2021's Game Awards.
Yeah. Because I remember talking about that.
According to Bloomberg, the project was rebooted last year and has switched directors. Quote, one of the company's biggest bets in development, a video game based on Wonder Woman, has struggled to coalesce. According to people familiar with the project, early last year it was rebooted and switched developers. Yes.
Banhammer.
Please.
Ka-ching. That's the sound of a banhammer.
Yeah, I can't do anything with that. Anyway, carrying on. Right, so it switched directors. The game, flimin' heck. Even reading this makes me go, what the hell? The game has already cost more than $100 million. $100 million. Said the people who asked not to be identified discussing non-public information, and is still years away from release, if it ever makes it to market.
Say, can see Wonder Woman.
So elsewhere in the report, it claimed that both Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, do you even remember that came out?
I don't know any.
And Multiverses flopped.
Yeah.
Last week, Warner Brothers announced that the development of Multiverses is coming to an end. It also claimed that Rocksteady Studios, and I didn't include this in the news because I knew it was coming up in this.
Yes.
Has decided that after the absolute rejection of Suicide Squad and the failure that was that.
Yes.
That it's going back to somewhat its roots by developing a single-player Batman game. Jesus Christ.
Jenker says no wonder WBD is in a financial black hole having to tax claim back. I wonder how much the death of Suicide Squad influenced the Wonder Woman game. So I bet they were just trying to do a live service Wonder Woman, throw her out there, reap the benefits.
Do you think it's also possible the reason why it was rebooted is that they probably wanted to tie it into the Suicide Squad, and then they unjustly, they completely killed her off in that?
You know what's crazy? I'm going to talk about this because I'm going to talk about Suicide Squad every time it comes up because I played it.
It's crap.
Well, and also I played it with somebody else.
And it was crap.
We played it. Well, what I'm saying is we played it for 2 months or 3 months. 2 or 3 months.
Yep.
And then we were going to do the Mrs. Freeze stuff.
Which is stupid in its own right anyway, but, carry on.
And then real life events happened and here we are. But the part where you are introduced to Wonder Woman, where Wonder Woman fights Superman, is actually a brilliant part of the entire Suicide Squad. Wonder Woman looks good. She's voiced well. She's rendered well. Superman's rendered well. The whole thing is very dramatic, very heartbreaking because, in some alternate realities, Superman and Wonder Woman are lovers. They're a couple, and that's lightly touched on, because obviously we're in an alternate reality in this version of Suicide Squad. It's just handled really well, and she's so powerful that there is a point where I'm like, oh, I'm pretty sure I said to the person I was playing with, I was like, oh. No, I know I did. I was like, she needs her own game. Oh, let me play her. I want to play her so bad. You know, and that kind of thing. And Nana disagrees. Says, no, Kylie, I don't think so. I think it's just normal development hell stuff, because why tie it to those games? Like, I don't know if it was meant to be part of the Arkham universe. Danger says, or was until last month.
Yeah, they really have tried to tie it to the Arkham universe as much as possible.
Yeah, and it's
they even said in the advertisement material and in the lead up to the game that this is actually part of the Arkhamverse.
Yeah.
It's a direct sequel, basically, to the events of what happened of Arkham Knight.
Yeah, people kept asking that. And anyway, if you want my thoughts on it, I'm pretty sure, was it last week or the week before?
It's been several weeks over the last year.
Anna has cut and chopped many clips of me talking about Suicide Squad.
Yes.
If you need to go watch it. I probably played it, well, me and the person I played it with, we probably played it longer than any people did. Yes. So I'm coming from a place of experience. You know, I did this. I played it. It was terrible. It wasn't awful. It didn't start awful. It just became awful.
Yes.
And with that said, I think that their depiction of Wonder Woman was absolutely chef's kiss. I loved it. Okay. I would love to see a freaking Wonder Woman game, please. Thank you.
Yeah, you might be waiting a very, 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 very long time for that. If it happens at all. Anyway. Cool. Another reason why, another reason why the UK or the video games development is in toilet at the moment. Yeah. It's not necessarily just because of the video game developers themselves. Mostly it is. Right, okay. Yeah. The UK government has something to do with that too.
Okay.
Because
interesting.
The UK government has rejected calls to strengthen regulations protecting consumers against the closure of live service games.
Okay. I have many thoughts on this.
Yeah, shall we read the story first? Hold up. No. We'll get copyright strikes if I do that anymore. An online petition seeking to, quote, prohibit publishers irrevocably disabling games that they've already sold without giving consumers the option to retain or repair them recently gained 10,000 signatures. Dank has literally just put in the chat, politics warning, wee-oo, yeah, thank you. Yeah. Which is the amount required to receive an official response from the UK government. While it acknowledged the concerns expressed in the petition and said that it will continue to monitor the situation, the government essentially suggested existing regulations offer sufficient consumer protection. Quote, we are aware of issues relating to the lifespan of digital content, including video games, and we appreciate the concerns of players of some games that have been discontinued. The Department for Culture, Media and Sports, the DCMS, which was issued on February the 3rd. We have no plans to amend existing consumer law on digital obsolescence. Yeah, thank you. But we will continue this. We will monitor this issue and consider the relevant work of the CMA on consumer rights and consumer detriment. So the response outlined a number of protections offered to buyers by the Consumer Rights Acts of 2015, so these are all UK based, the CRA, and the Consumer Protections from Unfair Trading Regulations 2008, the CPR, which contains regulations sellers must comply with. Quote, however, these are not requirement in UK law for software companies to support older versions of their products, the DCMS said. Decision-making for those companies take account of commercial and regulatory factors and complying with existing consumer law. There may be occasions where companies make decisions based on the high running costs of maintaining old servers for games with declining user bases. The CIA gives consumers important rights when they make a contract with the trader for the supply of digital content, requiring it to be satisfactory quality, fit for a particular purpose, and as described by the seller. It may be difficult and expensive for businesses to maintain support for old software, particularly if it needs to interact with new technologies. This sounds like typical political guff to me.
It is. It 100% is. And I don't understand. Wait, can we talk about it now?
Of course we can.
I don't understand. I know we try not to get political here, but I'm going to say this. I said it last week too, I think. So I'm going to say it again. The current government that is in charge over here in the UK, for those who don't know, is what is called the Labour government. Historically, Labour has been on the left, on the political spectrum.
Yes, and that was after 12 to 14 years of the Conservative Party, which are presumably on the right of the political spectrum.
Yes.
Although a lot of their policies tended to lean a lot of left-wing ways of recent times.
Well, here's what's funny about that, is that this current Labour government has been the most right-leaning government. I think it's even more right-leaning than the previous Conservative government, who, as Pete correctly said, had a lot of actually left-leaning policies, which was also a surprise.
Which is quite... I mean, I disagree with you completely on this one. I don't think Labour have necessarily been right-wing at all. I just think they're just a little bit further left than fucking the other one is.
Maybe, but they also voted to take, like, old people's money away, which is like, and I am being very broad here.
That is not a right-wing way of doing things.
It's definitely not a left-wing. We're like, give money to everyone, all the marginalized people. Here, have it, because I'm a socialist. Here, have all the money, and they went, no, we're gonna take that money away. Which again leads me to this. Usually left-wing governments, again, bearing in mind I am a socialist, a Trotskyist. They're consumer protection. What the F? Britain, well, I won't say Britain, I'll say UK. UK is well known, even back when I lived in the States. Britain is well known for its consumer protection. It's always basically sided on the side. It's not anti-business, even though most Americans would say that the UK is anti-business, as I was raised to believe. I don't agree with that. But it gives off the
allure of being that way.
Yeah, to people who don't believe that consumers should have protection, like everyone in America. Yeah. But let's see. Yes, thank you. Dagger said, and not stepping in on electricity increases. This is what I'm talking about. And that's all I'm chipping in. Yeah, no, we're trying not to get political here, because I mean, me and Pete, we joke a lot. We're on absolute opposite sides of the political spectrum, and yet sometimes we overlap.
Mm-hmm.
Which shows you. But you can just do that.
But it is also the fact that I'd rather not tell people what my political leanings are online.
Yeah.
For reasons, because I'm also trying to be as apolitical as possible too.
I've curved a lot since I've gotten old. When I was younger, I was like, F you, Trotskyists, listen to me. We need to give all the poor people all the money, and all of you can F off right now. I've learned a little bit of political nuance. I mean, I still have those beliefs, but I've learned a little bit of political nuance. But this is a shock to me. I mean, bringing it back to what we're actually talking about. It is a shock to me because normally, historically speaking, Labour government has been all about consumer protection. Sometimes, I would say sometimes to the detriment of business. Yes, I will say that. I will go out and say that.
Well, notoriously and previously, over many, many years ago, when the Labour Party was originally set up, it was actually about the people.
Yeah, exactly. It
was the party for the working class.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and of course, I'm going to support that. Even though I live in a different echelon, it doesn't matter. I feel very guilty about it, if you can't tell. So Pete is absolutely correct, and historically speaking. So yeah, I'm shocked that there's not more. It didn't go that way. I am genuinely. I mean, I'm shocked. I'm not shocked. It's been kind of par for the course for this current government, who are not performing the way previous.
For want of a better word, Kylie, I think we can go with this. Crap.
Yes, at least we can agree with that. This is I hate politics and everything to do with it, because if you invest too much into it, you will go. Oh yeah, no, that's absolutely right. That's my stance. I made a kind of personal promise to myself, as an American. I am not reading. I used to, like when we first started this podcast, I love politics, but not in like an angry, spitty, fighty way. More in like philosophical discussions.
Yeah.
I like to see why people come to the beliefs that they do. Can we compromise? To me, compromise is not a bad word.
No, according to a lot of people these days, it is.
Yeah, both sides, and I'm talking about both sides.
Oh yeah,
right.
I'm not talking just one side.
Nah, and I have a lot to say about identity politics that you don't want to get me started on. You would start to question my leanings.
Let's not go into that, because that's a hotbed issue topic that could get people ruined.
Which actually, me and Pete are actually very similar in those.
I think we probably agree on certain things with that.
On certain things. But having said all, so what I'm saying is that politics is an interest of mine. It's always been more the political science side of things. I love reading political books and learning, like the historical things that have happened, like Watergate and JFK, all that kind of stuff. And I tried to get into The West Wing, which is a TV show. I didn't like it. It's too fake for me. I can't watch it.
Yeah.
But people actually adore that, and that's cool.
I
appreciate
know people do. I've been recommended it before.
Yeah, well, the guy I take care of it's his absolute favorite. That and The Wire, and I can't get into either one. Anyway, not my point. My point being that I am a person who is very, very, very strongly interested in politics as a subject. Mm-hmm. But I'm very logical and detached and observant. That's the type of person I am. I'm very clinical. A lot of people now are emotional. Their emotions lead them, especially where politics are concerned. So there's no political discourse. So all of that to say that we're probably not going to get to talk very much about this subject matter. But if you do feel strongly about it, we do like to hear from you. So definitely put it in like the comments and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, like on Spotify and thing.
Yeah, of course.
Tanker says, I tried to get into the West Wing, but the door was locked, so I entered the East Wing.
Terrible.
Or you could be like Elon Musk and just walk up in there, an unelected official. Anyway, not going there.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, I know. I've got to stop. I can't read American politics anymore.
No, I've had enough of it. It is just absolutely as boorish as the man running the country himself.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm like, I moved exactly the right time.
Well, to be honest with you, like even talking about British politics is not even very nice at the moment as well, because it's essentially the same powder keg that you've got over in America anyway, just in a slightly different direction. It's not nice, but at least it's sophisticated.
No, it is not.
No, it is not.
But you know what I'm saying? Where we haven't degraded to people who are not supposed to be in government buildings just walking in there with their own team and firing everybody on the spot. We're not there.
Okay, fine. That's a good
decorum.
point. Yeah, fine.
Decorum.
Yeah, fine.
The British people are known for their decorum, and I love that.
Yeah.
I love all decorum.
Okay, fine. But anyway, we're going to move on, because Dank rightly put it, said that we need to lighten the tone.
It's true, so but I'm still happy for people to leave comments over on Spotify and stuff.
Yeah, 100%. So let's lighten the tone, because did you happen to remember there's a Minecraft movie coming out this year?
I'd like to forget it. I would totally like to forget that's coming out.
Okay, fine. But to coincide with the release of the Minecraft movie, an immersive Minecraft experience is coming to London.
Anyway.
There's a reason why I'm getting into this. I'll tell you that in a moment. Coincided with the release of the movie on April 4th, Minecraft Experience Villager Rescue will open its doors on the same day at the Corner, a new multi-use venue in Canada Water. So, The experience will see players take part in a 45-minute journey through the attraction, guided by two unique characters, Tobin and Deo. They will learn to use the Orb of Interaction, a glowing interactive handheld device that guides the users from room to room. No prior knowledge of Minecraft is needed, organisers say, and the experience seeks to welcome families, parents, children, players and non-players alike to take part. Tickets are only £20 for children and general admission £16 plus from £24, and there is currently a wait list that goes up for pre-sale on February 12th. The reason why I included this is because I have a nephew that is absolutely freaking obsessed with Minecraft at the moment.
Oh, now you totally changed everything for me, B.
I know, so that's why I'm lightening the tone. I actually thought this might be quite a cool thing for my nephew to go to. So I sent it over to them in our WhatsApp group the other day, and I'll wait and see what happens with that. If he talks to me about it in a few weeks' time,
report back.
I will report back. But that sounded like an actually kind of cool way to promote the movie in some way as well.
Oh, there should be more stuff for kids, except for my YouTube channel.
Yes. Well, now we're going to completely break the tone again. Sorry.
Favorite thing to do. But yes.
Yeah, well, Nana's put, it might be good for kids, not really interested in myself. I'm not overly interested in it myself, but if it means I get to have a day out with my nephew, cool. I'm not going to complain.
I'm not gonna lie, I use Minecraft the same way I use my modded Fallout 4 and House Flipper and all that. I love to design and build houses.
And I tear them down.
And then, well, I don't actually tear them down, funny enough. I think that was my original goal, and then I just didn't. So I do like to go build things, but it's not Minecraft itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's essentially God mode Minecraft.
Yeah, like I don't ever leave creator mode or whatever it's called. I've never left that.
So you essentially, when it comes to Minecraft, you're like Ivan Drago. I will break you.
I once built a building just to see how tall it would go.
Amazing. It's kind of the same thing that I did with Terraria. Is
get
a load of dirt blocks and see how high into the sky I can go.
Yeah, it made me think of you and Terraria. It's probably very similar.
Probably. All right. Well. But anyway, we're gonna now completely ruin the tone again.
My favorite.
Because
can I drink more?
You may. Yeah, carry on. You may have mentioned this earlier, so we're gonna go into it a bit more. After nearly 24 hours of downtime, PS5's PSN online service was restored on Saturday. And Sony has now apologised with a free gift to players. Great.
Oh, I didn't know about that part now.
No, that was an update as of Saturday night.
Oh, okay.
Quote, network services have fully recovered from an operational issue. We apologise for the inconvenience and thank the community for their patience. All PlayStation Plus members will automatically receive an additional 5 days of service. Let's get into this in a bit. So reports of PSN going offline, so I'm just going to give you the background to obviously what happened. Started appearing in the early hours of Saturday morning, but it actually was about Friday evening. I think about 7 p.m. on the east coast of America.
Yeah.
Because that's about what I heard. And Sony reported the issue had been resolved at nearly midnight. So actually, it was much more than 24 hours. This not very accurate. There's still no explanation for the PSN downtime, which left many players unable to access any online service, access their library of digital games, or pair new PS5 disc drives. Online outages are broadly fairly common. Is it that common? No, but one major issue arising from the PSN outage is the way that game licenses are handled on the platform, and players with digital copies of their games found that they were unable to play their games. It's not just when it comes to digital games, because even the disc versions do require some kind of online check-in. Thank you, DRM future that we live in.
Yeah, I was going to say a similar thing happened to me with Hitman on Thursday, I believe. And I said this on my stream. I was like, well, Pete's right again.
We will get to it. While some digital titles will launch without internet access, PlayStation will then warn players that the game will close after 15 minutes due to being unable to verify the license for the game. So anyway, that's enough of that story. So yes, the crazy thing of the all digital future that you've been wanting to have for years.
Want it, and I do still think it's gonna be here inevitably. But boy, howdy, they need some backup plans and some fail safes and some plan Bs.
It's almost like Nintendo might be the only ones actually doing that with games on a cartridge.
I mean,
that
I don't know
require an online check-in.
I was gonna say I don't know how much a game disc of Hitman, obviously, Road Assassination, would make a difference if it's all hosted on the server anyway.
And that's what I'm talking about. That is half the problem with it. Is once you have an online server that has to do an online check-in for content that you have bought, that's where I have the issue with it. This is the idea of the all digital future that I do not like. Why does a single player game require an online connection to check in? It used to be the case that we could buy a game, plug game in, play game. Now, because the utter ridiculousness when it comes to constant updates, games being broken at launch and all of that, we have to have this online check-in system, and when things like PSN, Xbox Live, Steam, GOG, all of that go down, we screwed. We can't play anything. But yet, someone who sits there with an incredible buttload of consoles sitting on their shelf with a load of non-online component things might go be able to play an old game. Or someone who might have acquired emulators in the utmost legal way will still be able to play some games because they own every game in that collection.
Totes legal.
Yep.
Although, to be fair, what I've started doing, and this isn't also beneficial at all, because I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll take Hitman because it is my perfect example. Obviously, Hitman, World Assassination, it's kind of convoluted. It is basically the, quote, new Hitman, even though it's been out since, like, 2015, 16, something like that.
But obviously they've amalgamated all three games into one package.
They have. And it's all, as you said, and it's all, like, updated, and like I said, it's hosted on a server. Each component is hosted on its own server.
Yep.
So sometimes if one game style falls apart, you can still play this other game style. But that has not happened the last two times. The last two times, all of it's crashed. But, so what I thought I would do, which was I thought a good idea at the time, I bought all of the Hitman games that were available on Steam. With the idea
Blood
that
Money, Absolution, 1, 2...
all of it. Code 47 even. From way back when.
Agent, is it?
Yeah.
Hitman.
Wait.
Yeah. Code 47? Agent 47.
Codename 47. Hitman Codename 47. I think. I don't remember. But it's that. It's the original one, which looks like crap. Just because
Should have bought it on GOG.
Yeah. Well, there, Pete's just said the magic word. I bought it on Steam thinking, oh, it'll be 100% compliant. Because it's freaking Steam. I can't even play it. I can't play most of the older Hitman games. And it took a lot of finagling to get Blood Money to run.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's crap because if you're buying from a digital distributor, they should have it tested, retested, the infrastructure in place, all this kind of stuff. Again, these are old games that were originally on discs. These weren't.
Yep.
And yet I couldn't play it. And yeah, I know GOG does that, which is why Pete's correct.
Yeah, Nana's correct there.
He's correct, but then at the same time, you're like, why is Steam selling it?
Yeah,
Steam
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah. Unless it's. Yeah.
Yeah, it is quite funny actually because one of Rachel's mate's partners was talking to me last week about how he is currently building the world's most powerful XP machine, just so he can go and play old CD-ROM games.
I've heard people doing that. Oh my goodness! But at the same time, I'm thinking, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, he literally walked into a CEX and came away with Rainbow Six Raven Shield.
Oh my goodness!
God damn, what a game that was!
There's a Silent Hill game that I absolutely love called Silent Hill Shattered Memories. It is a really good game. It's narrative heavy, so it's not really game, as in it's a good game as in playing.
No, I've heard it's pretty good.
It's a brilliant narrative. Can't get it anywhere.
Nope.
And it's just like, no, that's not cool, because that goes back to our whole game preservation, thing.
Yeah, it should be really, but hey.
Yeah, but here we are. We are in the digital age.
We are.
Let's be honest.
But also,
so why?
Go on.
We need to put stuff. Well, we just need to put infrastructure in place. Why aren't they concentrating on that? Why we gotta, put 107 million into Wonder Woman?
Over 100 million, yeah. But
let's just build some infrastructure so we can play old games, unlike Lion Jim Ryan.
But there is also one other aspect of this that seems to be setting the internet afire, ablaze at the moment, because of Sony's silence on the matter. Let's say.
Right. Okay. Okay.
A lot of people have decided that obviously rampant speculation is quite a thing that they like to do, and stir the pot many have done. So I'm gonna pose the question, not intending to stir the pot necessarily, but only to ascertain what you think about it. Is this just a simple outage? Or was this a result of a DDoS attack or a potential hack like in 2011?
That told me that their PSN was down because they were playing Marvel Rivals. My immediate thought, now they're far too young for this, but my immediate thought was that 2011 attack.
I think everyone has said said a similar thing. I watched 3 videos, and admittedly they probably come from a similar kind of source. So, Spawnwave, RGT85, and MVG, all members of the Spawncast, all stating probably the same thing, that it is very likely that they think that this is a hack or a potential DDoS attack.
Well, that's kind of where I'm leaning, is towards DDoS, but I will not lie. That was my absolute first thought. And I went to say this to the person, and then I realized that this person's 23 years old.
And doesn't have a clue what 2011 was.
Nah. I was like, oh, wait, okay, no, I'll keep that to myself. But it was.
Did you say they're 23?
23.
They would have been in single to just over double digits at that time.
Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah, I know. It's mind-blowing, breaking. I'm just like, okay, I can't go there.
And yet I would have been in my 20s.
Yep.
Ugh.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
I know, exactly. And then we're saying that, and then, of course, poor Nana.
Sorry, Nana.
But, I mean, it would not surprise me with the state of the state of play, the state of PlayStation, that they didn't put things in place. I mean, it's flipping Sony.
Of course, it's Sony. It wouldn't surprise me.
I'll say this, and then we'll wrap up. Yeah. I wish that there would be a dark horse on the horizon, some, big player video game. I know Google tried it with the Stadia.
They, like with most things, they tried it for about 5 minutes.
Yep, and I called it. I called it so fast. I called it to the letter. That's back when I could call things and predict them to the minutest detail, which I did the Stadia. And then the Elon Musk taking over Twitter happened, and I can't call nothing anymore. We're in like Lululand, La La Land. I don't know what's going on. But I would like to see just maybe I'll do it. I have a publishing company. Do it. No, I'm not gonna do that. Maybe, actually.
Don't do it.
I gotta not think like that. Stop it.
Don't do it.
I already want to go host a convention like right now, and it's like, no, chill out, let the market settle. You know how this game is played.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Because Do you remember the ESA?
Yeah.
The ESA, the former organizer of E3,
Yes.
has announced a new event.
Oh wow! Okay.
I
did not know this.
So they announced the Interactive Innovation Conference, or ICON for short, a thought leader summit designed to connect visionaries, thought leaders, and innovators from across industries to harness the power of interactive entertainment. So this will take place in Las Vegas next year between April 27th and 30th.
Yep, they know what they're doing.
So, according to the ESA, the event will be attended by leaders from Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, Amazon, Disney, EA, Epic, Square Enix, Take-Two, Ubisoft, and Warner Brothers Games.
Yep.
If Warner Brothers can even afford to go at that point.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
Anyway, I'm glad you mentioned that because that was our final story for the day.
Well, there you go. And it says that's not E3 at all, sadly. It's not, just another GDC.
Essentially, yes.
But what they're doing, way back when, again, not to harken back to our ages or anything, but way back when, E3 was literally a bunch of nerds. And now we're talking, it's not actually that long ago, 2006. I remember, 2006 or 2007, I remember sitting there, waiting to get the feed from the BioShock reveal type thing. It was not E3 as it became. It was literally a bunch of nerds sitting around talking about video games, which is what this sounds like. So I think what they're doing is they're doing a legit reset. They have the potential in their hands. This could go well. It could go well. Again, I can't predict anything since Elon Musk ruined everything. But they have it in their hands if they just run with it. See, I did a Super Bowl reference. Thanks.
Yeah, don't fumble it.
What?
I said don't fumble it.
Yeah, don't fumble it. We should put a Super Bowl reference in our title. But I think we should wrap it up.
We definitely should, yeah. Because
I've had 3 tequilas.
Yes, and also this episode has been an absolute disgrace to talk about with the news.
Well, why?
Because the video games industry is aflame. That's why.
It is.
Anyway.
It is.
Happy fun times.
Yeah.
We have games to play. That's fine.
I
guess.
But remember, like, this is legit before I sign us out, but or sign us off rather. This is legit. I am actually very old. And everything in life in the video games industry is one of those things in life. It has crests and it has lows. So highs and lows. And every time you hit a low, the high that comes after is so good. It's
Hopefully
like
so,
if you look back at the Great Depression in the US, happened about 1929.
Had a serious low. But the high that came after that was pretty good.
It came after that was insane.
And then World War II happened.
I was going to say, I know World War II contributed, believe it or not, to the American high. But I'm still using it as a kind of illustration that you can hit a low point. And actually, that's true for personal life, too. Let's get a little philosophical here. You can hit a low point. I should know. I'm still in my low point. But once you leave that low point, your high is like you can't even... you could never imagine what you've achieved. That's what's going to happen to the games industry. I know I've been bad about my predictions since Elon Musk took over Twitter. But that you can take to the bank. You're going to hit a low in the games industry, and then what we get as gamers / consumers, what we have on the horizon, it's going to be better than anything we thought.
Yeah.
I know it will
Currently at the moment, let's put it into the English terms. We're currently in the Black Death moment of...
There you go. Yes.
And
the
then
Renaissance is
And then
right
soon
around.
after, the Renaissance and the Industrial Age will begin.
It's true, though. They sacked Constantinople. Don't get me started on that. I did a diatribe this week about it. They sacked Constantinople. The Black Plague happened. And then Leonardo da Vinci.
Yes. Anyway, that's enough philosophy. Let's wrap this up.
So, Pete, out there in Never Neverland. Where can they find you?
You can find me on the socials on Blue Sky and Twitter. Still not calling it X, screw that. It's always Twitter. But I don't do much on there at the moment other than posting the stuff, so probably should do more. As mentioned on other places, I am within certain Discord channels as well, so Rapid Reviews, MikeTendo64, and a few other places. Come and talk to me on there if you want to discuss anything that we've discussed on this show. Also, you can find me on the podcast The Never Watchers, which is a film and TV based podcast where the episode has been recorded for Snowpiercer. It is in the editing suite as we speak. I just need the actual time to edit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that should be out hopefully next week at some point. But yeah, a lot of fun discussing that one. We tried a new format out, so we're looking for people to actually give us some feedback on it.
Okay, not that I didn't like the previous format; it's fine.
No, we're trying something very different, and it's also going to probably bleed over into the Marvel discussions that we do as well. So we're just looking for people to just let us know what they think of it. We think it works better. So yeah, it'll be interesting. But yeah, that's on most good and some bad podcast players at the Never Watchers. Kylie, talk us out for the next 25 minutes about streaming.
Right. I am not on socials, unlike Pete. Although Pete just kind of said he isn't on socials. I have not been on Twitter since I don't know when. Couldn't even tell you. You can find me on Instagram, but it's boring. It's just gym and food pics. That's it. Am I anywhere else? No, I'm not. So that just leaves my streams, which you can find obviously on twitch.tv/KILEY_WILDE. I stream I don't know how to say it. Like, I absolutely stream without question Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Mondays are Mondays Mayhem Mondays, where I shoot people in the face. Wednesdays are Weird Wednesdays, where I still shoot people in the face. And Fridays are Frightening Fridays, and I try to shoot
where you possibly shoot people in the face.
Yeah. Sometimes I stab them.
Just in a scary way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I do it in a weird way on Wednesdays and a scary way on Fridays. Exactly.
And you do it in a manic way on Mondays.
That's true. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays and sometimes Saturdays, these are not dedicated streams. These are if I feel like it, if I'm sad, definitely. And then if I just feel like, doing it. It's usually Hitman, or my version of a cozy stream, which will always involve guns and blood. Although I've been doing Shrek. Power Wash Simulator.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
So that crops up as well. We have a lot of fun. Most of the people in chat here, actually all of the people that are in chat, are in my chat as well. So it's all very cool people. No judgment. I always say this about the Dragon Cave, which is what I call my stream. Everyone's welcome. Absolutely welcome. We don't judge anyone. I'm not going to judge you for your politics. I am very open about my political affiliation. I do not care where you lie. As in where you lay, not like lie. But having said that, the one rule to rule them all in the Dragon Cave is we do not hurt people. We don't hurt people. I'm what's called a French libertarian. Live and let live as long as you don't hurt anybody else. And I bring that to the Dragon Cave. We've had a lot of YouTubers or people who follow me over on YouTube. They've come over to both Rapid Reviews and my channel. You guys are amazing. Welcome. Which leads me to say, also over on YouTube, where I've just crossed 100 subscribers. I have 101. I think Tinker is my last subscriber. But first of all, I appreciate that so much. On YouTube, I will stream on Wednesdays. I've been watching a kind of streaming guru over there and trying to take his advice about stuff. I don't agree with everything he says, but a whole lot of it's really good. So it's kind of fun over there. Fun and exciting. So if you want to follow something cool. And these like shorts that are like 10 seconds. I don't think my shorts are ever any longer than 30 seconds. That's what she said. They're all quickies. But go watch them. It would be a big help because YouTube has kind of sacrificed me to the algorithm because I said some wordy dirds and because I was a little bit filthy talking and because I play violent video games. So I had to be good. What? So if you can watch that, that would be good. I'm on TikTok. I don't normally check TikTok. I check it. Come on. I might check it once a day, maybe once every other day, because I do get left comments, and I like to comment back to everyone, because everyone's wonderful. If you could watch that, would be good, because my views went way down. Like, way down, and they were punishing me, and they don't like that I'm also naughty there, so I have to be good there, too. And I don't know, I debate. I got permission to stream over there, but I'm kind of debating that one. I don't think I have a big audience over there.
Oh, where's that, sorry?
And TikTok gave me permission to stream there, but you have to build a vertical thing, and I don't know that I want to. Not really have the fan base. I have like 11 followers, which I can't follow back, by the way. So if you're here from TikTok, it's nothing personal. TikTok won't let me follow people back, and I don't know why. I'm old, guys. I'm really old. I don't know how any of this stuff works. So with that said, I think that's everything.
I think we're there or thereabouts.
I think so. But yeah, I'm just running through my head. Yeah, we'll be back next week. Nothing's new. Nothing's changed. So with that said, we will see you and talk to you next week. Bye!
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Rapid Reviews Radio podcast. You can find the podcast on Anchor FM, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and various other podcast platforms. You can also find the video version by searching Rapid Reviews on YouTube and watch the podcast recording live on Twitch at twitch.tv/rapidreviews at 7:30pm UK time every Sunday. Please make sure to follow the podcast on Twitter at RRRadiopod, and for all the latest reviews, visit www.rapidreviewsuk.com or on Twitter at RapidReviewsUK.